All right, welcome back to Chapter 8. We're going to have a look at the telephone book 8.5 in this example. And what we're going to do in this program here is we're going to draw upon a text file. It's called phonelist.txt. And we're going to load it inside of a list box, which we've done many times before. And once we've done that, what I want to be able to do is be able to select one of these names and then pull out the actual phone number from that name right there. And there it is right there. So instead of just clicking on the name and displaying the whole record, I'm going to pull it out. We're going to tokenize it. We're going to pull out that second option, and we're going to output just the phone number. So that's the behavior of this particular program. Now, to do that, we're going to use this concept of a structure, and we're going to create the structure of this information. So if you look at my data right here, I've got a piece called the first name here, which is Katie, and then we got the last name right here called Alan. Then we got another part here, which is really our first part of our phone number, the prefix, I think they call that in telephones. And then we've got the phone number part here. So what I want to do is I want to break this down into its own structure. And to do that, I'm going to use the struct. This is a class called struct. We're going to create an instance or a structure called the PhoneBook Entry. So I'm going to name it the PhoneBook Entry. I'm creating my own kind of almost like a class in a sense. And I'm going to put all of this inside of my form namespace. So if you look at the top here, there's my form, and I'm not inside of any of these public methods here whatsoever. So it's really, I'm putting it inside of this namespace within here. Although I could have put it up here. I could even put it out on a file, but I chose to just stick it here because I'm only going to use it within this telephone book list. So I think it makes it better for readability, and for the scope issue, it should fit right here. Now, you remember from the slide, we have to declare each of these fields as public, and if you think about it, they're all strings. Even though it's a number right here, that could be technically an integer, but I'm going to put them in as strings for each of these parts. So we're going to create a structure, a framework by which we're going to take apart this phone list. All right, now inside of here, how this works is, as soon as this whole form loads, I'm actually going to read in the file and display the names inside of here. So when I run my program, as soon as I open it up, it automatically loads the file and displays the information in here at the time of form load. Otherwise, I'd have to have another control that would actually do that process. But the event load, it can be handled nicely in there. So I'm going to create two methods here, one called read the file and one called display the names. All right, so reading the file, well, this is kind of similar to what we've been talking about in the previous couple of videos, is I need a file. So of course we're going to have an input file from our text file, and that text file is going to be a phone book list, and I'm going to read in each individual line, so set up a variable for that. Now I'm going to create a new instance of my new structure. So I have a structure here called PhoneBook Entry. So I'm going to actually use this kind of like creating an instance of a class. I'm going to create an instance of a structure, and they're kind of similar, except structures are more restrictive and more limiting to just the data types and the fields. So we're going to create a new instance called the entry of this structure up here. So that's creating a list, and it's a dynamic list that we're going to do. We're going to create a new instance of this object. Create a new instance of this object here called entry. There we go. And the other part of this is now we're going to have a look at this delimiter array. And the reason we're using this is because we've got a space, we've got a comma with a space, and we've got a hyphen. And if you look at the file here, what separates all this is a space, a comma, and a hyphen. So we're going to create a delimited array to pull that apart. So we're going to call it delim in this example right here. All right, let's go in here, grab the file off the disk, let's open it up, that file up, and let's put it inside of this object that we created in memory. That's all done. And then we're going to go through and we're going to tokenize it. So I'll go through that in the next video.